There's something trying to reach you. You've felt it before. The strange pull, the persistent thought, the unshakable feeling that something beyond your conscious mind is nudging you toward something important. Maybe you've ignored it, brushed it off as coincidence, or chalked it up to your imagination. But what if these weren't random? What if they were signs from your higher self, messages designed to guide you toward clarity, alignment, and a deeper understanding of your path? Most people miss these signs. They dismiss them because they don't recognize the patterns, or they second-guess themselves until the message fades into the background of everyday life. But those who learn to pay attention, who understand how their higher self communicates, begin to experience a shift. Suddenly, their lives feel more in sync, as if the universe itself is working with them rather than against them. And that's exactly what we're uncovering today. The signs your higher self is trying to get your attention. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of how your own inner guidance system works, the specific ways it reaches out to you, and how you can start recognizing these messages before they slip away unnoticed. But before we dive into the signs, there's something important to address, because understanding who is sending these signals is just as crucial as recognizing how they appear. Coming up next, I'll share the one sign most people dismiss that could be life-changing. Your higher self isn't just some abstract spiritual concept. It's the purest, most expanded version of you. It's the part of you that exists beyond doubts, fears, and limitations. It sees the bigger picture, guiding you toward your highest potential, even when your conscious mind struggles to make sense of things. But here's the challenge. Your higher self doesn't communicate in the way you might expect. It doesn't drop obvious answers into your lap or send you text messages spelling out your next move. Instead, it speaks through subtle signs, nudges, sensations, synchronicities, because that's how it bypasses the noise of your thinking mind and reaches the deeper, intuitive part of you. And yet, most people dismiss these signs. They assume intuition is just overthinking. They label synchronicities as coincidences. They get caught up in everyday distractions, ignoring the very guidance that could change their lives. So, how do you know when your higher self is reaching out? 1. The bridge between everyday consciousness and higher awareness. Your waking mind operates on logic, patterns, and habit. It sees life through the filter of past experiences and survival instincts. But your higher self exists beyond that. It doesn't just respond to what's happening right now. It guides you toward what's possible. Think of it as a bridge. On one side, you have your everyday self, navigating the routines of life. On the other side, your higher self sees the long game, the full spectrum of your potential. But crossing that bridge requires awareness, because the messages don't come as loud declarations. They come as subtle whispers. These whispers appear as persistent thoughts that won't leave your mind, intuitive feelings that don't seem logical, or patterns that keep repeating in your life until you finally pay attention. 2. Why your higher self communicates through signs. You might wonder, why doesn't your higher self just tell you what to do? Why the mystery? The answer is simple. Direct messages don't create growth. If the answers were handed to you without effort, there would be no expansion, no strengthening of intuition, no personal transformation. The process of recognizing and interpreting signs is what sharpens your awareness and aligns you with a deeper sense of knowing. And this is why signs often feel mysterious. They don't come in a way that fits neatly into logic. They show up as a recurring number sequence, an unshakable gut feeling, or a sudden moment of clarity that seems to come from nowhere. These moments might not always make sense immediately, but when you start trusting them, when you stop dismissing them as random, you begin to see the patterns. And that's when everything starts changing. 3. The biggest misconceptions that block people from recognizing signs. A lot of people miss signs from their higher self because they fall into these common traps. Waiting for something dramatic. Many assume that a sign has to be loud, obvious, or life-altering. But real signs are usually subtle, appearing in ways that require you to tune in rather than wait for something big. Expecting a specific answer. Sometimes people ask for a sign but already have a certain answer in mind. When the actual sign doesn't match their expectations, they dismiss it, even though it was exactly what they needed. Dismissing intuition as overthinking. Logic has its place, but your higher self communicates beyond logic. That gut feeling, that instant knowing, is not random. The more you trust it, the clearer it becomes. Ignoring repetition. When a message keeps appearing in different ways, whether through numbers, words, dreams, or feelings, it's not a coincidence. It's a sign trying to break through your awareness. Coming up next, we'll explore the physical signs your higher self sends, and why they might be happening to you right now. Sometimes, signs from your higher self aren't just thoughts or emotions. They show up in your body and surroundings. These signals are easy to miss because they blend into daily life. But once you start recognizing them, it becomes clear that they're not random at all. Your higher self uses physical signs because they're hard to ignore. Unlike a passing thought or a fleeting feeling, a shift in energy, a sudden sensation, or an unexplained change in your environment forces you to stop and pay attention. And the more you tune in, the more these signs become a direct conversation between you and your higher awareness. Let's go over the most common physical signs and what they could be trying to tell you. 1. Unexplained sensations, goosebumps, tingles, temperature changes. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of chills for no reason? A tingling sensation on your skin that wasn't caused by touch? Or maybe a shift in temperature that doesn't match the room you're in? These are all classic signs of your higher self trying to get your attention. Goosebumps or chills, these often happen when you hear something deeply true, when you're in alignment with your path, or when your higher self is confirming a thought or decision. Tingling or pressure in certain areas. Many people feel this in their hands, forehead, or the top of their head, signaling an energetic shift or an incoming message. Sudden warmth or coldness. If a part of your body suddenly feels warm or cold without a physical reason, it could be a sign to pay attention to what's happening in that moment. These sensations usually appear when you're thinking about something important, making a decision, or encountering an opportunity that aligns with your purpose. They're subtle nudges from your higher self, reinforcing what you already know deep down. 2. Changes in energy levels and sleep patterns. Your body is deeply connected to your higher self, and when it's trying to communicate with you, your energy levels often shift in noticeable ways. Feeling unusually drained or exhausted. This can happen when you're resisting guidance or moving away from alignment. If you're constantly tired despite resting, your higher self might be signaling that something in your life needs to change. Sudden bursts of energy. Sometimes, you'll feel a wave of excitement or motivation out of nowhere. This often happens when you're on the right path or when inspiration is trying to come through. Disruptions in sleep, waking up at odd hours, especially between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., is often linked to spiritual messages. This is a time when your subconscious is most open, and many people report receiving insights or clarity during these moments. If you notice patterns in your energy levels, don't ignore them. Instead, ask yourself, what was I thinking about when this happened? Your higher self might be guiding you toward or away from something significant. 3. Physical synchronicities in your environment. Signs don't always come from within. They also show up around you. These external, physical synchronicities often align perfectly with what you're experiencing internally. Objects appearing repeatedly. Maybe you keep seeing the same symbol, animal, or image in different places. If something keeps showing up in unexpected ways, it's worth asking what it could mean. Hearing the same word or phrase everywhere, if a particular message keeps finding you, whether in conversations, songs, books, or random signs, it's not a coincidence. Technology acting strangely. Have you ever had your phone freeze, a web page refresh at the perfect moment, or your music playlist randomly play a song with an oddly fitting message? These glitches often come at key moments when your higher self is reinforcing something important. These signs are easy to dismiss as randomness, but when they happen repeatedly, they carry meaning. Paying attention to them can unlock powerful insights. 4. Recurring health messages from your body. Your body is one of the most direct ways your higher self communicates. Certain physical discomforts or patterns in your health might not just be about lifestyle. They might be signals pointing towards something deeper. Tension in specific areas, a tightness in your shoulders, throat, or chest can indicate that you're holding back from something or resisting an important realization. Digestive issues, the gut is often called the second brain because of its deep connection to intuition. If you're experiencing unexplained stomach issues, it might be a sign that something in your life isn't sitting well with you. Literally. Headaches or pressure in your forehead. Some people experience this when they're blocking intuitive insights or when their higher self is trying to get through but they're resisting. When you experience physical discomfort, instead of just treating the symptom, take a moment to ask, is there something my higher self is trying to tell me? Often, the answer will reveal itself in unexpected ways. The key to understanding physical signs is to notice patterns. A single instance might not mean much, but when the same sensation, shift, or event happens multiple times, your higher self is sending a clear message. And here's something to think about. Most people dismiss these signs because they expect them to be dramatic or obvious. But real signs are often quiet, subtle, and personal. The more you train yourself to recognize them, the more clearly they start showing up. Coming up next, we'll uncover the emotional and mental signs. These are the ones people experience daily but rarely connect to their higher self's guidance. Physical signs are easy to notice because they happen in the body. But emotional and mental signs are just as powerful, except they often go unnoticed or dismissed as random thoughts and feelings. Your higher self doesn't just communicate through external signs. It also speaks through your emotions, thoughts, and intuition. The problem is, most people assume that their feelings and thoughts are just products of their mind, rather than guidance trying to break through. This part will uncover the most common emotional and mental signs, and what they really mean. 1. Persistent thoughts that won't go away. Have you ever had an idea, phrase, or thought keep repeating in your mind, sometimes for days or weeks? It's as if something is trying to get your attention, but no matter how much you distract yourself, the thought keeps coming back. Random ideas that feel urgent, these are often insights your higher self is pushing forward. If you keep thinking about making a change, pursuing a goal, or reaching out to someone, don't ignore it. A specific phrase or message that keeps appearing, if a certain sentence or realization keeps looping in your mind, pay attention. It might be something you need to act on. A sudden knowing that doesn't go away. Sometimes, you just know something without knowing why. Your higher self is giving you guidance in a way that doesn't need logical explanation. The key here is persistence. If a thought keeps coming back, it's not random. It's a sign. 2. Sudden emotional shifts and inexplicable feelings. Emotions are one of the most direct ways your higher self communicates. But because they're so personal, people often dismiss them or try to suppress them. Feeling a sudden wave of emotion out of nowhere. Have you ever felt an intense emotion, like sadness, joy, or inspiration, without any clear reason? This can be your higher self aligning you with something important. Overwhelming sense of peace or clarity. If you suddenly feel deep peace, even in difficult situations, it's a sign you're in alignment with your true path. Unexplained resistance toward something. If you feel uneasy about a situation, decision, or person but can't explain why, trust that feeling. Your higher self often warns you before your rational mind catches up. Emotional shifts aren't random. They're signals. Learning to trust them is key to understanding what your higher self is trying to tell you. 3. Recurring dreams and their hidden messages. Dreams are one of the most direct ways your higher self sends messages. Because when you're asleep, your conscious mind isn't blocking the guidance. Seeing the same symbols or themes in dreams. If you keep dreaming about a certain place, person, or situation, there's a message hidden within it. Dreaming about guidance or answers before making a big decision, Your higher self often provides clarity in dreams when you're at a crossroads. Waking up feeling like you just received an important message, even if you don't fully remember the dream, the feeling it leaves behind can be the message itself. Pay attention to how dreams make you feel. This is often the real clue. 4. The role of intuition versus the rational mind. Most people rely on logic to make decisions. But your higher self doesn't communicate through logic. It speaks through intuition. A gut feeling that goes against logic but feels right. This is often your higher self giving you the correct answer before your mind rationalizes it. A sense of certainty without evidence. Have you ever just known something without proof? This is a sign of higher guidance. Feeling off about something despite no obvious red flags. If something feels wrong, even when it looks fine on paper, trust that feeling. Learning to separate intuition from fear is key. Fear is loud, anxious, and overwhelming. Intuition is quiet, steady, and confident. 5. Emotional patterns that indicate higher guidance. Your emotional reactions to situations aren't just personal. They're often signs from your higher self about what needs to change. Feeling drained around certain people or places, this is your higher self showing you where your energy doesn't belong. Being drawn to something without knowing why. If you feel a strong pull toward an idea, person, or path, there's a reason for it. Repetitive struggles in the same area of life, if the same problems keep happening, your higher self is telling you there's a lesson you haven't learned yet. Most people ignore these signs because they assume emotions and thoughts are random, but they're not. The more you trust your feelings and intuition, the clearer your higher self's messages will become. Up next, we'll go even deeper into the spiritual and environmental signs. These are the signs people often dismiss as coincidences when they're actually powerful messages. Some signs from your higher self are internal thoughts, emotions, dreams. Others show up in the world around you. These external signs are just as powerful, but most people dismiss them as coincidences. When you start paying attention, you'll realize these signs aren't random at all. They are precise, intentional, and deeply meaningful. Your higher self constantly interacts with your environment to get your attention. This section reveals the most common spiritual and environmental signs, and what they mean. 1. Number sequences and their significance. Numbers are one of the most recognized spiritual signs. If you keep seeing the same numbers over and over, on clocks, receipts, license plates, it's not a coincidence. Repeating numbers 111, 222, 333, etc. These are universal signs of alignment, confirmation, or a shift happening in your life. Specific personal numbers sometimes, a number that has personal meaning, a birthday, anniversary, or lucky number, keeps appearing to remind you of something important. Numbers appearing at key moments, if you check the time exactly when it's 11:11 or 4:44, your higher self is nudging you to pay attention to what's happening at that moment. These numbers serve as wake-up calls, small reminders that you're being guided. 2. Animal messengers and natural signs. Animals are deeply symbolic. Your higher self can send messages through encounters with specific animals, especially if they appear in unusual ways. Seeing the same animal repeatedly, if a certain bird, insect, or animal keeps crossing your path, it's a direct sign. Animals behaving strangely around you, a bird staring at you through a window, a butterfly landing on your hand, or a dog suddenly becoming unusually affectionate. These moments hold meaning. A strong emotional reaction to an animal, if you feel drawn to a particular animal, even in a dream or symbolically, it may carry a message for you. Your higher self often uses nature to communicate, because when you're in a natural state of awareness, you're more open to receiving guidance. 3. Synchronicities that can't be ignored. Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences that seem impossible to be random. They are moments where reality aligns in such an intentional way that it feels like the universe is speaking directly to you. Hearing the same message from different, unrelated sources, if a certain topic, phrase, or idea keeps coming up in different places. Conversations, books, songs, social media. It's a sign. Meeting the right person at the right time, when someone enters your life exactly when you need guidance or an opportunity, it's not by chance. Thinking about something, then seeing it appear immediately. If you're thinking about a specific idea, and then it suddenly shows up in your reality on TV, a sign on the street, a random conversation. Your higher self is confirming something for you. The more you notice synchronicities, the more they will happen. 4. Signs through other people. Your higher self often speaks through other people, sometimes even strangers. Someone randomly says exactly what you needed to hear. If a person mentions something that resonates deeply with you, especially without knowing your situation, take it as a message. A conversation that feels meant to happen. If you end up talking to someone and the discussion feels incredibly aligned with what you're going through, it's not just small talk, it's guidance. People suddenly entering or exiting your life. If certain individuals keep appearing at crucial times or suddenly disappearing, there's a reason. Your higher self aligns relationships to reflect your growth. Your higher self knows that sometimes you need to hear something from another person for it to fully register. 5. Technology glitches with meaning. Technology can be a strange and unexpected way for your higher self to communicate. Songs playing at the perfect time. If a song randomly starts playing with lyrics that seem directed at you, pay attention. Unexpected messages or notifications. If you get a text, email, or social media post that answers a question you were thinking about, it's not random. Devices acting weird in meaningful moments. If a phone call drops at a critical time, a light flickers when you're deep in thought, or your computer freezes just as you're about to do something, pause and reflect. Sometimes technology acts as a conduit for higher messages. Your higher self is always communicating. These signs aren't just random events. They're deliberate attempts to get your attention. The more you acknowledge them, the more clearly your higher self will communicate. Up next, we'll uncover how to interpret these signs, avoid misreading them, and take action when they appear. Recognizing signs from your higher self is just the beginning. The real power comes from what you do with them. Many people notice these signs but either dismiss them as coincidences or misunderstand their meaning. So how do you know if a sign is real? How can you be sure you're interpreting it correctly? And most importantly, how do you respond? This section will show you how to trust, interpret, and act on the messages from your higher self. 1. How to differentiate between true signs and wishful thinking. One of the biggest mistakes people make is seeing what they want to see instead of what's actually being communicated. Here's how to tell the difference. A true sign is persistent. If the same message keeps appearing, it's real. If it's a random thought you only had once, it might just be the mind playing tricks. A true sign comes with a deep knowing. You'll often feel an inner click when something is a genuine message. Wishful thinking, on the other hand, usually feels forced or desperate. A true sign aligns with your growth. The higher self doesn't send messages to fuel ego-driven desires. If something is pushing you toward truth, awareness, and evolution, it's real. A simple way to check if a sign is real. Take a deep breath, quiet your mind, and ask yourself, does this feel like a message, or am I trying to make it fit? 2. Creating a personal sign dictionary. Signs are unique to each person. What holds meaning for you may not mean the same for someone else. That's why creating a personal sign dictionary is a powerful practice. Here's how to build one. Write down recurring signs, numbers, symbols, dreams, sensations. Keep track of the ones that appear frequently in your life. Note what was happening when you saw the sign. Were you thinking about a specific problem? Asking for guidance? Looking for an answer? Record how you felt. Your emotional state at the time of the sign gives clues about its meaning. If a sign appears when you feel stuck, it may be a push forward. If it shows up in a peaceful moment, it could be confirmation. Over time, patterns will emerge, and you'll start to recognize what different signs mean specifically for you. 3. Daily practices to increase awareness. The more connected you are to your higher self, the more easily you'll recognize its guidance. Here are some daily practices to strengthen that connection. Morning awareness check-in. Before starting your day, take a few moments to set an intention. Higher self, show me the signs I need today and help me recognize them. Mindful pauses throughout the day. Pause for a few seconds to tune into your body and surroundings. This simple habit makes it easier to notice subtle signs. Journaling at the end of the day. Write down any signs you noticed and what they might mean. Reflection strengthens your intuition. Ask for clear signs. If you're unsure about something, ask your higher self to send a sign that's undeniable. Be specific. If this path is right for me, show me a white feather in an unexpected place. Then stay open to what appears. These small habits train your mind to be more receptive to higher guidance. 4. What to do when you recognize a sign. You've noticed a sign, now what? Here's how to respond effectively. Acknowledge it. Simply recognizing a sign strengthens the connection with your higher self. A mental "I see it" is enough. Tune into your intuition. What's your gut feeling about the sign? What thoughts arise when you see it? Take aligned action. If a sign is urging you towards something, don't hesitate. Even a small step in the right direction confirms you're listening. For example, if you keep seeing messages about a new opportunity, start researching it. If a specific number pattern appears whenever you're about to make a decision, take a moment to reflect. If a sign reassures you about something, let go of doubts and trust. Ignoring signs leads to repeated lessons. Acting on them keeps you aligned. 5. Common pitfalls to avoid. Even when people start recognizing signs, they often fall into these traps. Overanalyzing everything. Not every random occurrence is a message. If you're questioning every minor detail, step back and focus on clarity. Waiting for a sign instead of taking action. Signs guide you, but they don't replace action. If you keep asking for signs about the same thing without moving forward, you're stuck in hesitation. Expecting instant answers. Some signs make sense immediately, while others take time to unfold. Trust the process. Ignoring signs that don't match expectations. If you ask for a sign but receive something unexpected, don't dismiss it just because it wasn't what you wanted to hear. The higher self always communicates what you need, not necessarily what you want. Your higher self is always speaking. Are you listening? Now that you understand how to recognize and interpret signs, the next step is integration. In the final part of this video, we'll recap everything and show you exactly how to implement this knowledge into your daily life. Your higher self has always been speaking to you. The signs have always been there. The only question is, are you paying attention? In this video, we've uncovered the many ways your higher self reaches out. Through physical sensations, emotions, synchronicities, and unexpected messages from the world around you. We've explored how to interpret them, how to tell real signs from wishful thinking, and the steps to take when you receive one. Now, let's bring everything together into something you can actively use in your life. 1. Recap of the most crucial points. Before we move forward, let's go over the key takeaways one more time. 1. Your higher self is the part of you that knows your true purpose and is always guiding you toward it. 2. Signs are subtle but persistent. They won't force themselves on you, but they will keep showing up. 3. Physical signs include sensations like tingles, sudden warmth, or unexpected bodily reactions. 4. Emotional and mental signs often come as recurring thoughts, strong feelings, or intuitive nudges. 5. Spiritual and environmental signs appear through synchronicities, number patterns, dreams, and symbolic messages. 6. The key to understanding signs is trust. If you doubt them, they become easy to overlook. 7. Taking action is what makes the connection stronger. Ignoring signs leads to repeated lessons, while following them leads to alignment. With this knowledge, you now have the foundation to recognize, interpret, and respond to the messages meant for you. 2. How to integrate this into your daily life. It's one thing to understand these concepts. It's another to make them part of your reality. Here are some practical ways to integrate this awareness into your life. 1. Set an intention every morning. Upon waking, take a deep breath and say, I am open to the guidance of my higher self today. Show me what I need to see. This simple habit shifts your awareness. 2. Keep a sign journal. Write down any signs you notice and what you were thinking or feeling when they appeared. Over time, you'll see patterns that reveal deeper meaning. 3. Trust your first instinct. When a sign appears, resist the urge to overanalyze it. Your first gut feeling is often the correct one. 4. Use a confirmation practice. If you receive a sign but aren't sure what it means, ask for it to be repeated in a different way. This strengthens your ability to distinguish real signs from random events. 5. Take small, aligned actions. If a sign is nudging you toward something, don't wait. Even the smallest step in that direction affirms that you are listening. By consistently practicing these habits, your connection with your higher self will grow stronger, and the guidance will become clearer. 3. Invitation to share experiences. Now, here's where you come in. You've learned how to recognize signs. You understand what they mean. Now start looking for them. And when you do, come back and share your experiences in the comments. Have you ever had a sign appear so clearly that it couldn't be ignored? Have you dismissed a sign, only to realize later it was important? What's the most powerful sign you've ever received? Your story could be the confirmation someone else needs. 4. A final thought. You are never alone. No matter how uncertain life seems, your higher self is always guiding you. The more you listen, the more signs you'll see. Most people ignore the messages meant for them, dismissing them as coincidences. But those who pay attention, they step into alignment with their true path. From this moment forward, start listening. Because the next time a sign appears, you'll know exactly what to do.